YouTube, what's good? Where y'all at? Shout out to all the new subscribers. I see y'all. Thank you. Much appreciated. Shout out to all the new subs. What is good? Thank you for tuning in. Gonna make an official announcement here in a little bit. Not sure if some of you have heard about John. What are you doing, my man? You just like gonna bogart that? You're not gonna even ask, like try to get in? I swear, some people should not be driving, I swear. You literally gotta have eyes in the back of your head. When it comes to prostitution, I have made several videos over the years. Okay, one of them, I believe the last one I made, received a lot of attention from local radio show. And that was mostly asking what the Rochester, New York Police Department is doing about the prostitution. And here's the thing. I get that it's, you know, the oldest profession in the world. I get all that. All right? So please spare me that shit. For me, growing up on Rochester's west side, right off of Lowell Avenue, Child Street, I saw it firsthand of not only how, you know, especially, let me just say it like this, especially how it fueled the illegal drug trade in the city. Because see what it is? It's a vicious cycle. And what I mean is that the prostitutes are out there, right? To feed their drug habit, right? And in feeding the drug habit, they're basically putting money in the drug dealer's pockets, right? But it's bigger than that. Who fuels the prostitution trade? For example, in Rochester or anywhere across the country, the majority, okay? The majority of the men who pick up prostitutes are middle-aged, white, professional men. Okay? And what I mean by professional, I'm talking about married men who work in corporate America, who work in office buildings, who are lawyers, who are, you know, in some cases, judges. Okay? Politicians. Right? So I have a video that I'm going to be releasing soon. Okay? And the video shows a middle-aged white man with a company vehicle, a corporate vehicle. And you'll see, the video will make sense. Once you see it, it all makes sense. The video has the company logos. Picking up a prostitute on Rochester's west side. And again, the issue, Clinton Avenue, has become bad too, no doubt. What's good? Thank you for tuning in. And here's my thing. That's why I said, you know, I know there's people that defend it. Well, Davy V, you know, it's the oldest trade in the world, and it's the oldest profession. And here's my thing. As someone who grew up on the west side, okay, which always has had a huge problem in Rochester, especially the Lowell Avenue, that's the Red District neighborhood in Rochester, New York, for prostitution. And I'll share with you guys and girls a quick little story that I'll never forget. So my mom was always very much an old school type of, you know, housewife, right? And it's in a lot of cultures, it's kind of the norm, or it used to be, where the woman stays home. You know, she takes care, makes sure everything's straight in the house. She watches the kids, right? And especially in Latino culture, although things have evolved, that was very big. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really sexist. It's just that, it was old school. That's the way it was. I admire, just so no one misunderstands it, I admire any woman that works, that has a career. Women, I always tell my daughter, right? I'm a father of 3 children, but I have 1 daughter. And I always tell her, not only can women do anything that a man can do, in many cases, women can do things better, right? Women have, really, really contributed greatly to society. And much respect to all the women who are watching. But what I'm saying is, the reason I kind of started to shape the story like that is because my mom grew up in a time, and I grew up in a time where my mom wasn't really too dependent, right? Too independent. I'm sorry. Actually, she was dependent in a way. I'll show you what I mean. So she wasn't too independent. For example, she never learned, let me turn this car off. She never learned how to drive, for example. And therefore, that meant that she depended on my dad and then on me when I started driving, or my brother, to go to the stores, to go shopping, to go here, to go there, right? Go to church. And it was fine. Again, it was kind of like an older school, kind of part culture, part just, a different time. And, she was comfortable with that. You know what I mean? She never learned how to drive. I guess she was never interested in driving. So my thing is, I'm over here. Somebody was about to argue about a parking spot. So my thing is that the story that I wanted to share with you real quick, not to get off track here, is that's why I went into the story about my mom and my dad. So in the 1980s, my mom and my dad were in the car, and they were driving somewhere. They were going to go from the west side of Rochester, which is where Lyle Avenue is. For those from Rochester, New York, you already know. They were going to go to the east side, and they were going down. I grew up on Child Street, about maybe quarter mile, whatever, from Lyle Avenue. And Child is right off of Lyle. And the way that they would go to the east side of the city is they would have to cross Upper Falls Bridge, which is, one of the bridges that gets you from the west side to the east side, or east side to west side, however you want to look at it. And so, they were at a light by an old store called Tent City. Anyone from Rochester may remember Tent City, on the corner of Lyle Avenue and Dewey Avenue. And a prostitute, saw my dad at the light right there on Dewey, in front of Tent City, Dewey and Lyle. And my mom was in the passenger seat. And this is how bold the prostitutes are. And I've showed them on my video, literally just getting into people's cars, that she opened the rear door of my dad's station wagon. Shout out to anyone with a station wagon. I grew up when my dad always had a station wagon. He loved it because you could fold the seats down. My dad was a huge dog lover, so we always had a dog in the back. And, when I was smaller, me and my brother would sit in the, I'm talking about the old school station wagons where the back seats would actually face each other, the small seats that would fold out of the floor. And kids would love them, especially on trips to Miami and back and forth from Miami to Rochester and vice versa. So she literally hopped in the car. I definitely remember Tent City. What's good, Ed? Ed from Punta Gorda, Florida. Good seeing you, my man. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, Ed remembers Tent City. Listen, Tent City was the shit. If anyone doesn't remember Tent City from Rochester, or is from a younger time like my kids, I miss Tent City. It's where I used to go and get $10 pair of ponies. Who remembers pony sneakers in the 80s? I had the latest Jordans. I had Fila. I had Pumas, right? I even had the Lotto sneakers, right? Troop sneakers. All the latest sneakers. But pony was a very inexpensive sneaker, and sometimes money was tight. And I would go to Tent City and get a $10 pair of ponies. And I never forget, they were black suede, and they had the pony symbol, which was silver. I'll never forget that. Silver symbol. The bottom was white, the rubber part, the sole, and the sneaker was black suede. But anyway, so the prostitute was about to get in my parents' car, station wagon, and my dad basically, I remember him telling the story that basically, and my mom telling the story that they were shocked. Here they are, husband and wife, at a light. You know what I mean? And a prostitute is so bold and so desperate for her fix, right? Because that's what I'm getting to. It's all a vicious cycle. They're out there, right, doing what they do, okay, to get the money for the drugs. They, in turn, take that money to the gates and all the trap houses in the hood and give it to the drug dealers, right? Now, who's fueling that? Who's really fueling it, okay? And I'm sorry if anyone gets offended. The majority of Johns are middle-aged white men. And not just middle-aged white men, middle-aged professional white men. Like I will show you soon on a video that I will be releasing exclusively right here on Davy VTV. So again, as with many things that I do, there'll be people that won't agree with it, people that will defend the oldest trade in the world. That's not my point, okay? My point is that there's a clear connection, right, between the illegal drug trade in the city, right, and crime to the prostitution. They're part of that wheel, right? They're a cog in that wheel. But who's really fueling it? Who's really fueling it is middle-aged white professional men who many times are coming into the city not only to buy drugs, but to get prostitutes, and they live outside of the city, these men. They live in the suburbs, in the surrounding towns. And it's disgusting. I've talked a lot before about, relationships, and many relationships don't work out. Somebody said, I wish there was some legal prostitutes around. More power to you. If that's your thing, it's not mine, but I don't hate on that. That's you. Everybody has a right. What I'm talking about is very different. What I'm talking about is that there's a clear correlation and a clear connection between the illegal drug trade, prostitution, and middle-aged white professional men who are married, who are disgusting, okay? And the wives they're with, either they don't know or they're stupid, sticking around for the money. What is good, Red Comic? Red Comic in the house, 585, Rock City, Rocktown, The Rock, the ROC, Red Comic, always coming through. By the way, big shout out to my man, Yeah Right. I'm not sure if he's watching. And, me and that brother got to build because we got similar wavelengths going on when it comes to everything that's going on nowadays. We look at life the same kind of, very similar ways, you know what I mean? No one's going to be 100%. No one's going to agree on everything. So that's my little rant for now. But what I wanted to announce is that I'm bringing on a new segment to Davy VTV. And it's going to be, again, it's not going to be the whole, it's not always going to be like this, but it's going to be a segment, so look for it, basically called John TV. And not called John TV because John TV already exists. I don't know if it still does or it used to. But basically, it's going to be an outlet for you, the viewers. Doesn't matter what city, town, village, state. Doesn't matter where you are. In fact, to all my viewers and all my fans overseas in the UK, my people's in Manchester, my people's in London, okay? To everyone that watches me overseas, no matter where you are, send me your videos. If there's prostitution going on and it's fueling the crime and fueling the drug trade, send the videos and I will put them on here. But specifically, if you live in Rochester, New York, and if you live in these areas like I grew up in, Child Street, Lowell Avenue, the west side of Rochester, especially around the Lowell Avenue neighborhood, send me videos. Don't be afraid to exercise your First Amendment right to record. Record the activity going on around your homes. Record how the Rochester, New York Police Department continues to ignore the prostitution going on right in front of their eyes. How they're enabling it. Record it. And record all these middle-aged white guys who are coming from the suburbs to the city, contributing to the illegal drug trade and the crime going on in the city by picking up these prostitutes. And then going back to their little quiet suburban towns and white picket fences. Expose them. Expose them all. Record them. There's no excuse. I grew up in a time in the 80s when my dad had a big 25-pound VHS camera. Okay? Now, I don't expect everybody back in the day didn't have one, right? You got to lug it around. It's huge. You can't conceal it. You know what I mean? You can't be, just have it and pull it out. You got this big thing you're lugging around. Nowadays, like I tell people, when I encourage them to record any and all activity that they have with police, nowadays there's no excuse. No excuse. Zero excuse. Zero excuse not to be ready to record. Everybody has a camera at their disposal. It's your cell phone. It's in your pocket. It's in your purse. It's in your hand. Use it and record it. And stay tuned for Davy VTV as we're going to expose some of this that's going on in my old neighborhood in Rochester, New York. A neighborhood where I grew up, where I played as a kid when we came back from Miami. I was born here, went to Miami, came back to Rochester when I was almost 10 years old. And we moved in the Child Street neighborhood. We lived on Child Street, 184 Child Street. Played at Campbell Street Rec Center when the city of Rochester did so much for the kids with the recreation center programs. So again, new segment that's going to be on Davy VTV. Video coming soon. And I encourage each and every one of you, if it's something that you're passionate about and you want to show how the prostitution and the illegal drug trade, along with these, professional men who are cheating on their wives, which is disgusting. I can't even imagine that. I'm not putting anyone down. Everyone is free to do what they want to do. That's you. That's y'all. That's on everybody, right? But me personally, if I was one of these wives and I even suspected that my husband was going out and patronizing these prostitutes, and then comes home back to me and lays in my bed, in my home, around my children, that's disgusting. And I don't get it. Sometimes, you see things like the 80s song by, I think it was 80s or maybe early 90s, CNC Music Factory. I think it was 80s. It was like 88 or 89. I'm good with my 80s music. I believe it was 88 or 89. CNC Music Factory, things that make you go, who remembers that? Who remembers that hit? I believe it was late 80s. And sometimes that's what makes me go, like, what is it with some of these women? Like, honestly, I might catch a little flack from these men, from the men viewers, the male viewers. And I'm sorry, but you guys know that I'm very honest. What's good, Nort? And I'm sorry if you don't like it. If it hits home, if it speaks to you, then you got to ask the question, not me. Then you're the one with the issue about what's your issue with what I'm talking about? Because of marriage, and I know it's going to sound corny and cliche. If it ain't working, then tell the person it ain't working. You know what I mean? But this thing about these men, these professional men who have a wife at home, right? Who in many cases have children at home. Coming into the city and contributing to the illegal drug trade by picking up these prostitutes and giving them money, which in turn they take back to the trap houses to buy drugs. Meeting that supply and demand. That's disgusting. And all the women that are watching who even have a little inkling that your husband is cheating on you like that with these prostitutes, what are y'all doing? I mean, what are you hanging around for? Ultimately, not my business. That's on y'all. But that is part of the thing. There's certain cogs on the wheel. And prostitution, along with these middle-aged, like I said, professional white men, the majority of them are middle-aged professional white men who are coming into the city, who don't live in the city, but are coming in not only for drugs, but especially for prostitutes. Giving them money, which the prostitutes in turn take to the drug dealers. The drug dealers make money, they bring more drugs, and it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Think about that. Shout out to all the new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Stay tuned. More videos coming your way. It's about to heat up. Peace.